nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I do not know of any changes to the agenda tonight. Does anybody else have any changes? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Easter,
Second.
second by Forsberg. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to some future events, please check the district calendar and resource guide or the district website for a complete list of monthly events. Thursday, November 24th and Friday, November 25th, no school for students and staff and the district service center is closed. Tuesday, November 29th, school board work session at 6 p.m. Tuesday, December 13th, school board regular meeting at 7 p.m. with communication to the board and administration at 6:45. This includes our truth and taxation hearing. Moving on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the items of the consent agenda, including, I'll read them in a minute. Can I get a motion? Motion by Willella,
Second.
second by Bo. To approve the following items of the consent agenda. Minutes of the October 11th school board regular meeting, October 25th school board work session, bills paid for September 2022 in amounts totaling $4,333,705 and personnel items. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to presentations, special guests, and recognitions. Number one, the Spring Lake Park Schools was recognized for excellence in communication by the National School Public Relations Association, receiving 5 awards in 2 categories. Ms. Erica Tylo, welcome.
Good evening. It's fun to be here to share some good news about some recent communication awards. I have to admit that I don't think I was at the board meeting where this was added to the school board agenda. And I have to admit, I think my team and I have a little bit of trepidation in celebrating communication awards, because communication is something we all experience every day, and when it goes really well, often it's seamless and invisible. And we all have examples of it going well. And for every one of those examples, one where things maybe didn't go so well. So I think if there's one takeaway I want our board to have tonight and our community, it's that we are always looking to improve communication. It's one of those topics where there is never a lack of opportunity. Second, this is a team effort. And I want to introduce 2 other professionals who work tirelessly alongside me every day and our staff here, Jess Johnson and Mackenzie Finley. Our work is a team effort of 3 and a team effort of working with all of our staff and our students, and it's a privilege to do that work. I know I speak for Jess and Mackenzie when I say we're really proud of this work we're going to share with you tonight, and we know we have more to do. So a little bit about the awards. First, they were awarded by the National School Public Relations Association. This is the professional organization of PR people from across school districts across the United States and Canada. It serves more than 2,500 members. And the awards are given annually. And it's meaningful recognition for us because it's a jury of our peers that provides the feedback. In total, we walked away with 5 awards. I guess I'll just say that over and over again. 5 awards, 5 awards. In 2 categories, publications and digital media awards. These recognize excellence in tactical execution. So like standalone media pieces, publications, advertising, social media, things like that. Spring Lake Park Schools actually has a history of winning awards in this category. If you walk down the hallway in the DSC here, you can soak in all the awards won over the years. And for this year, we've won 3 awards in that category. And then we have Golden Achievement Awards. And these projects recognize all aspects of strategic communications, from research, planning, implementation, and execution and evaluation. So they're really an honor because it's recognizing all aspects of an integrated process. And this year we earned 2 Golden Achievement Awards, and I think we're particularly proud of that because they're the first for the school district. Those were the ones pictured on the first slide. Okay, so the 3 awards in publications and digital media. The first, we won an award of excellence, which was the highest award, for our Spring Lake Park High School registration guide last year. We submitted actually a URL for the website, which is the home of our, I guess, interactive flip book. So you can, it's an online book that's also printable as a PDF, and then also housed on that site is interactive course search catalog. So you can play with that if you want. It's all out there at Spring Lake Park High School website under registration. And really, Jess and Mackenzie are the masterminds behind this whole beast of a project. And the recognition is just fuel for a process that we're going to kick off here in a few weeks again. Then we won an award of merit, which is the next level award for our 2021-2022 calendar and resource guide. This is the calendar we mail to all of our district families and provide to each staff member. We've had some fun with the concepts the last couple of years, and this was the first one coming out of the pandemic. We created it to highlight our staff and their commitment to our students under the theme Set to Soar. Had a fun paper airplane motif traveling through the pages. And much of this handiwork is due to Mackenzie's photography and design eye, which we're really very fortunate to have in our district. A fun little story about this one. When we sent it out to homes, we had one first grade student who saw her kindergarten teacher featured in one of the months, and her mom sent a video of her holding the calendar and hugging it and jumping up and down and saying, "This is my teacher." It was a really cute video. That was fun. And finally, we won an honorable mention for our early childhood mailer from last winter. That's there on the far right. This piece was sent to households with young children to highlight our early childhood, preschool, and kindergarten programs. So one of our Golden Achievement Awards was given for our internal communication program. And our messaging theme for the year coming out of the pandemic was by design, building off of our 3D design process. We had fun with the visuals. We used a lot of blueprints, and tie-dye was our t-shirt of the year. I should have worn the tie-dye t-shirt tonight, I'm realizing. And really the whole idea of this was that at SLP we do things by design, and design is often governed by constraints, which we experienced a lot of during the pandemic. Our kickoff speaker last year, and I think some of our board members participated, was Phil Hansen, who's an artist, and he really reinforced that theme of by design, and he got us all drawing, and he talked about how can we be creative and innovative within constraints and boundaries. So that was really fun. And then that translated that to how we have structures and processes to keep our staff and leaders engaged and informed. We're continuing with this process this year, and twice a week we compile all of the topics our leaders need to know and do and share with our staff. And then twice a week, each of our buildings have a staff update that's sent out. And we've received mostly positive feedback for consolidating that information. And I think this is kind of a rarity in public schools, so it's fun. And then our second Golden Achievement Award was for the SLP Experience, which is our fresh take on a community newsletter. For many years, Spring Lake Park had Connections, which was a mailed print piece that was large format and mailed to every address in the district, and it had been several years since that was put together. So our job was really to look at and use the 3D design process to figure out how do we still get something in every home and every address, but also use our resources really well. Printing and mailing aren't as popular as they used to be, but it's still an important format. And so how do we have a hub, which is a website hub for SLP Experience, and have an integrated approach? So there's an online component, there's electronic newsletter, the mailed piece, and then it integrates with our district app. The trick was really, like I said, finding that balance of printing and mailing expense and having just a different format for that. So every issue kind of follows the same. We have 3 feature stories, and we try to cover just the continuum of grade levels and the whole experience We have a student spotlight, opportunities for everyone in our community, and then of course, some moments of Panther pride. So those are the 5 awards, and like I said, I think we just view this as the beginning. We have lots of other things we want to do, so hopefully we'll be back sharing some more in the future.
Thank you. Comments?
Questions?
Yeah.
Just super excited to see that we're being recognized for our communications. I think I shared at one of the other board meetings that you and your team just continue to set that bar higher and higher. So kudos, and it's well-deserved, well-deserved. I think we put a lot of emphasis on our communications. We try to cover all the bases, and it absolutely reflects in the work and the awards that you received.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate all 3 of you. You can tell how much time, effort, thought, planning just goes into all of it. It's not just the creation, but the timing of it all and what goes in social media and what, yeah, it's really impressive. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, another round of applause. That's great. Okay, moving on to discussion reports and information items. Let's start with, what? Erica's just coming back?
Coming
Okay.
back.
I'm like, what did I miss?
No, I'm just.
Communications and connections. Increase the connection, engagement, and support of our families and communities. We'll start with enhancing community and industry partnerships project update. Ms. Erica Teibel and Melissa Olson.
I'm back
Welcome.
for only a minute
Welcome.
because I'm going to share this, share the microphone on this topic. So this evening, we'd like to give you just a brief update on the work we've done this year on the district operational plan project. I have trouble saying that all in one phrase. That's called Enhancing Community and Industry Partnerships. So we're going to give you a brief update and then very quickly get to the impact of this work, specifically in the career and college pathways at the high school. So I'm joined tonight by Melissa Olson, our Director of Curriculum and Instructional Practices, and 2 of our talented teachers, Scott Wickland and Jen Prince. And unfortunately, we're not going to see Eric Van Brockland tonight, our pathways lead at the high school. He couldn't be with us, but I want to give him a big shout out for his work and the work he's done to build and strengthen our partnerships in the community. And I hope he has a chance to come here again in the near future. So just going to remind us of the why and what of the project. We wanted to pay kind of specific close attention to how we're strengthening our industry and community partnerships in order to help students explore real world opportunities and gain life skills for their future. While this certainly happens throughout all kinds of courses at the high school, it is really very prominent in our career and college pathways. And we had 5 identified milestones for the work this year. Tonight, we're just going to update you on the first 3 that are on the slide here. The first was creating an intentional calendar of opportunities for partners to come in and engage with us. The second was developing a communication approach for our partners as the list has grown. What's our sort of strategy for keeping people informed? And then evolving our industry roundtable event. We hosted our first one last winter, and it was really successful, and we got great feedback and input, and I think our partners got a lot out of it. So it was, how do we intentionally think about how we do that more frequently? So quick updates on where we're at. We did create a rough sort of calendar for the year, and we identified 2 anchoring events that are really events that are relevant to all of our partners, not just specific to an industry sector or pathway. So the Industry Roundtable is our fall event, and then the Career Fair in the spring. And then in between that, how do we sprinkle in those industry-specific events and strategically kind of spread those out a little bit. We also launched a communication vehicle for our partners. The first job we had was to pull together all the lists everyone was keeping and consolidate that list. We have over 150 partners. It's growing actually every day as people ask to be added to it. And we are communicating with them monthly. We launched that in September, so we've done 2 updates, and we're on track to keep going monthly throughout the school year. And it's a nice format, because even if our partners can't be engaged right now for whatever reason, we're at least keeping those lines of communication open. So every update includes some upcoming immediate opportunities, as well as a program highlight and a student spotlight. And then finally, the industry roundtable. We had our second successful event on October 13th. We had more than 30 participants, and our discussion, because that's really the core of the event, is having conversation with each other, was really focused on strengthening our partnerships in pathways. Really great ideas for ways we can connect students with paid internships, potential for apprenticeships, tours at workplaces, more guest instructors, and all kinds of interest in mentoring and coaching. So that's really exciting. Certainly last year we had great input on our career and life competencies, and it was fun to have so many people engaged and really excited about what's happening in our pathways. So all of these efforts are immediately impactful to our students, and especially in the career and college pathways at the high school. And so we wanted to share a little bit about that impact tonight. And so I'm going to turn that over to Melissa.
Hi, everyone. I feel lucky to be here again. I've had an opportunity over the years to talk about the evolution of our career and college pathways programming. And so just a reminder for those of you who aren't as familiar with our career and college pathways, we have 3 career and college pathways at the high school, and actually now that thread down into our middle school as well. So our first one is business and entrepreneurship. So we have a number of courses in each of the pathways, which I'll talk about in just a second. But in that business and entrepreneurship, of course, we want students to learn those financial skills as well as entrepreneurial skills. And with each of our pathways, we always, from the inception of our pathways programming, wanted students to have the opportunity to either do more exploratory, maybe try something for a trimester, or else really dig in deep for a year-long course or a double block course, knowing that we want students to have lots of opportunities during their time here at Spring Lake Park Schools. Our second pathway is technology, engineering, and design, affectionately referred to as TED. And we have had a huge explosion in that pathway since the beginning of our programming. That includes a lot of our engineering courses, our how to make almost anything, how to make almost anything too. And what you'll get to hear from one of our teachers, Scott Wicklund, tonight about our latest additions to the technology, engineering, and design pathway within introduction to the trades and construction trades. And then we have, of course, our health and human services pathway, where we have our students exploring everything from teacher education to opportunities in emergency care to some more exercise science, vehicles, and child development. So that's an overview of our 3 pathways. And I realize this is really the QR code. It will let you get to a deeper place where you can explore today's courses. One thing I do want to highlight is that we have several courses that embed our 12 by 12 initiative as well to offer college credit. So right now, we currently have 32 courses across the 3 different pathways, and 11 of those courses offer college credit opportunities. We tried to be really intentional when we built our pathways programming to set it up in a way so that students weren't having to choose between college credit and exploring a career, and provide some opportunities that would allow them to do both at the same time. And again, that full list of courses and more about our pathways can be found using the QR code, which will take you to our website, and then you can explore more about those. And just as a reminder too, as we think about our college credit, within that we have a lot of different opportunities for college credit that include advanced placement, or AP, as well as concurrent enrollment relationships with local colleges, college in the schools through the University of Minnesota. So there's a lot of wonderful opportunities there. So the why of our pathways experiences are really about that deeper personalized learning. When we think about our 4+ plan and really giving our students the opportunity to learn more about who they are as a learner, think about their passions and get a chance to explore those before they head to college or career and leave the walls of Spring Lake Park, we want them to have that opportunity to see what they like, and sometimes even more importantly, what they do not like. I've shared before, we have a number of students who take Pathways courses and decide that's not for me. And that is okay. That's a good thing because we want them to figure that out early so that they don't spend a lot of money and time on something that doesn't end up being the right fit. So our Pathways experience, as we think about that progression toward adult responsibility and the core and elective credits that are often combined in our courses and those college credit pieces, the biggest component that makes the Pathways different is that industry partnership, which is so absolutely important. With those touch points, we're able to really offer collaborative hands-on experiences that we just couldn't do if we didn't have all of our community partners that Erica was just talking about. They open their doors in so many ways to our students and our teachers. You'll hear about some of those tonight, to really just create a relevant learning experience, and that's really the goal. So speaking of that, some opportunities, there's lots of opportunities for partners to get involved. We always try to provide opportunities that are both maybe a lower level commitment, knowing that people are busy and have a lot going on in their schedules, and then we have those opportunities for people to get really deeply involved. So just some opportunities for partners. We often use guest instruction, and we're pretty purposeful in calling it guest instruction because it's not a guest speaker sometimes they're just sharing about their career experience, but we try to purposely tie it to the learning outcomes for the course so that the teachers really serves a role of facilitator with the students, and the industry professional is the one guiding students through that with the teacher also helping. So guest instruction on different topics, Shark Tank, which I'm not going to talk about a lot because we're going to hear a lot about it, but judging for Shark Tank is always a really popular partnership experience. You'll also hear a little bit about business class projects and sponsors. Our students have had wonderful experiences over the years working on authentic projects for local companies. Mentoring, providing teacher assistance. Sometimes it's really important. As we were developing some of our courses, we consulted with different industry professionals to find out what are trends or things we should be thinking about as we put together learning outcomes from different disciplines, and really bringing that interdisciplinary view. We have a small advisory council now. We're hoping to expand that in the future to a K-12 advisory board for Pathways. So that's something we're excited to get more industry partners involved in. We've started creating some courses at Westwood for students, and our goal is to really think about how do we extend these relevant, authentic experiences for students through all our schools at different opportunities and time. And then there's also financial support, so sponsoring a Pathways program, that's something also that will be coming out with soon this year is what are those levels of sponsorship, what does that look like? We're still doing some design work around that. We've had a number of wonderful partners who have donated equipment for our opportunities in emergency care and our construction program, so you'll hear again some about that. We also have had some of our partners who have provided student scholarships. We're always looking for more in that area as well. Summer jobs and activities, internships, sponsoring a field trip bus, providing employment opportunities is another option. And then at your workplace, hosting students for tours. Our students over the years have had the opportunity to tour a lot of our organizations that are local in the area, as well as, hop on a bus and go a little bit further. And then again, as I mentioned, those internship opportunities or apprenticeships. So we have a big list of community partners, and we would love to have even more, because the more opportunities we have, the more we are creating a system of support around our students and our teachers to be able to do this work of personalized learning, which is the goal. So I am going to turn it over right now to Scott Wickland, who is one of our teachers for construction trades and introduction to the trades, new courses in our technology, engineering, and design. And then he'll be turning it over to Jen Prince, who's a teacher in our business and entrepreneurship pathway.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Last time I stood here, I was a geography teacher. And now I'm a construction trades teacher, and I'm telling you, I'm having a ton of fun with these kids, and I think they're having a blast with me too. Because I'm learning along with them, and the excitement that they're showing just in building the house is, we're not even done. We're not even close to done with the house. We got a lot of work to do, but they're super excited and walking through that path. So we raised walls on the house not too long ago. I don't know if you saw the North Metro TV clip on that. It was pretty cool that they were there to watch the first wall go up. You can just see the pride in the faces of our kids. So, I'm going to start this way, and I'm kind of excited about this. I've never had so many people stop by to just tell me how proud they are that our school is doing this. I've had plumbers come by, electricians have come by. They're like, take a picture of my truck. My phone number's on it. Call me. I want to come and speak to your kids. And people are just dropping by. People are honking their horns, and I think it's because, we got a crew that's really good looking. But they're also just like, people are. But people are asking, what are you guys building? Oh, we're building a house. Are you kidding me? You're building a house? Like, they can't believe it. And I've got one of two responses from people in the community. A lot of people walk around the school, and they come in, and they're like, I get one of two. This is really a cool new thing that we're doing. And I'm also getting it's about time we're doing this again. Both. So there's excitement either way. And it's just cool because people are stopping in. And then I'm also going to a bunch of different places. I just drive around and stop in and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. People kind of look at me weird when I come in. And I'm wearing my school badge. And I'm like, hey, I'm building a house with students at Spring Lake Park. I'm not asking for anything. I just want to tell you that we're doing this, and I'd love to partner with you in some way. Maybe you can come and speak to our kids and talk about how you build houses or how you run electrical. And the response is just like, oh, absolutely. What do you need? Just take my card. Take my card. I want to meet with your kids. So I just got an email today from an electrician. He said, I just want to meet with your kids. Can I swing by sometime? And as a geography teacher, I've never had that. I've never had somebody say, can I come and teach geography? But there's so much pride in the trades that it just is really cool to see.
Yeah.
So the big group that's really helped us make this possible is Belpar Homes. They're the ones that have really made it so we can build this house, and they're in the background of this. They designed the house, and they got the connections with Dakota County Lumber that's sending stuff up here. Which, by the way, Dakota County Lumber, I said, do you have any extra scrap materials around? Because I've got an intro to trades class where kids are just building dog houses and sheds and chicken coops and stuff. And they said, oh yeah, we'll scrap stuff together and bring it up on our next shipment. Well, it was all cedar, and I'm looking, it was like $3,000 worth of stuff. They just said, please take it and use it. So we're going to write them a big thank you letter and send them a video or something of our kids. So Jeremy LeBeau is the one that runs Belpar Homes and Installed Building Solutions. They're the ones that are really making this happen, which is pretty cool. However, as a person who taught for the last 19 years, I'm not a professional contractor. I know how to do a lot of stuff, but all those little tricks that make you a professional, we've got a really good resource in Jeremy Flatten, who runs Jericho Construction. He's a 97 grad of Spring Lake Park, and he comes voluntarily 2 to 3 times a week and just teaches the kids tricks of the trade, literally tricks of the trade. And he loves kids. He just wants to do this stuff. So he's been a great mentor for me, and he's also mentoring kids and just looking to provide ways for them to enjoy the craft that they're doing. So he's been great. So there's a lot of other people that I stopped by a drywall place, and they gave me their card and said, yeah, we did this before, let us come and speak with your kids. And so the doors are just opening up for kids to get in whatever niche they want to within the trades.
That's great.
Questions?
Do we have questions?
I have a question. First of all, this is so exciting, and your excitement is very contagious. So if this is what you're like as a teacher, I can imagine that the kids are pretty excited about it. So thanks for that. I'm just kind of curious, this has nothing to do with this. I'm really curious how you learned whatever you learned that you felt like, yeah, I could probably build a house with these kids from geography or whatever. Where was that jump?
So as a teacher, we have summers off. And I spent a lot of time working with, my cousin is a contractor, and so I did framing with him. Andy Stevenson he's a teacher at our school, and he does landscaping in the summer, so I did a lot of landscaping with him. And then just finishing my own basement and just really YouTube. Just watching a lot of YouTube and how to build things. I gotta say this, my kids are gonna make fun of me, okay? When we go to a zoo, my kids look at the animals. I look at how the cages are built. Because I'm fascinated by how things are built. And so that's what's really fun for me is now I get to take that fascination I've had and teach kids about it. So it's really fun.
Yeah, really
awesome.
exciting. The whole thing is so exciting, so thanks for all you're doing.
Yeah.
Anybody else over here? Michael?
Yeah, just thanks for doing this. This is exactly the kind of thing I think we should be doing, and I also hear about it all the time out in the community. I think in addition to just providing kids this incredible opportunity and letting them know about, a lot of these students probably don't know about all the tremendous opportunities that are out there. That's the thing. It's also going to fulfill a need that our society has, which is incredibly important. And then the third thing is that, and you mentioned this too, the involvement of the community. It builds community trust and engagement, and I think that is critical to having a thriving school in our community. So, thanks.
There's a guy that walks by the house every day and takes pictures. And I think he texts them to principal or emails them to the principal. I think he knows our principal pretty well. And he's excited as much as I am to see this go up. So, and yeah, it's fun.
It's a really good visual for people.
It
Like you
totally
said,
is.
people are driving by and hugging it. Like, this is a great visual. It's one thing when you're doing something inside the classroom and you're going around saying, no, look, we're doing this really cool project about
Yeah.
maps or whatever. You're doing that's like really engaging the students, but they don't see it. And so for people to be driving by and seeing this in the pictures, it's very exciting for,
Well,
like
the
Michael
look
said.
the look of pride when a kid's up there on the floor, as somebody stops by and says, it's really cool you guys are doing this, and they're looking at the work that they did, you can see the 20 kids that I have per hour, they're just like, yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty cool. You know, they're proud of their work, and I've had some kids that are like, you know, I wasn't gonna come to school today, I wasn't feeling great, but I came for this class, I don't wanna miss this class. And then I have a couple of kids too that need extra support in other classes, and so I'm using this as a way to keep them up to date and doing good work in their other classes.
Yeah.
You know, because if they're not passing those classes and on track to graduate, I gotta sit you for a little while, and they're like, oh, I don't want, this is my favorite, I don't wanna sit out of this class, I wanna get outside and build.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that thing that's just naturally evolved as this class has gone on.
Well, and I think piggybacking off of what Michael and Sarah were saying, not only is it fun for the community to see the involvement and get involved, but for the students, you know, some of these classes we offered for a while and there wasn't as much interest in them, but when they can see it happening and they can hear friends talking about it, it also just helps make it more real, I think, for students as like, oh, maybe I am interested in that because I can see it happening, so that's great. You guys have any
I do.
questions?
I just think you're right. It is currency for the kids that need the extra boost. Currency to, this is why you're gonna go to school.
Mhm.
This is why you're gonna do well in the other classes, because if you don't, you can't do this. So I think it's awesome.
Yes.
Using what you have.
And there's no way I would have gone down this road and doing this construction without Eric Van Brocklen. And he's not here tonight, but the guy is just the grease that makes this thing just go. And I seriously wouldn't have bitten this off without his encouragement and making it happen. And so I think a couple years from now, I mean, all the connections we can make with kids in different communities and different partnerships with businesses, that's his gift, is making connections with people. So
That's wonderful.
he's amazing.
Great. All right. Anybody else?
Well, it sort of reminds me that, you know, this is so visual. And when we try to pass referendums, sometimes operating referendums aren't so cool, but people will support buildings.
Yeah.
And so I think that adds extra support. And also the popularity of all the shows on TV of
Yeah.
building and
Yeah.
renovating and
Yeah.
you name it.
Yeah. All right. You can tell we're excited to talk to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just add, you got like the brief version, I got the full, halfway through the third quarter, through the end of the game version, it was excitement to the football game.
Oh, I didn't stop talking. I was like, Jeff, I've been talking to you for the last 20 minutes, I'm sorry.
It was fun, it was a blast, but I'm glad you mentioned Eric, because when we recruited Eric from 917 is where he was at in the Southern Metro, he'd had this connection with Jeremy LeBeau and the work that they were building some houses down there. And he threw out the idea at him about, what about doing this in the northern suburbs? And he wanted to do that. And I think that's the other part. And we'll be able to talk about later this spring, because this house then will be sold, you know, it will provide low-income housing in the community on a lot. So that's kind of the vision behind this with Jeremy LeBeau, is being able to provide kids the opportunity to learn the trades, while then also giving back to the community by having this house that they'll be able to sell in the community at cost. So they don't look to make a profit, they break even on the supplies and that, and, support they provide. So it's a cool partnership, and, I really applaud Eric for the work that he did at the start, and then, Scott for, being willing to jump right in.
Well,
He had this, by the way, he did have this same enthusiasm when he was teaching social studies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all love
It doesn't really matter
Sure.
the content, that's just Scott, so.
Well, and this is just the tip of the iceberg too. So if there's a kid that doesn't want to swing hammers all day or doesn't want to do framing, maybe they want to get into design, and this is like hey, I kind of like this field, but I don't want to be out in the cold. So how can I continue this trade in some field where they can find their niche?
Yeah.
Planning.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for your
Thanks.
time. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to come and speak today about the business and communications class is what I typically call it, but it's a double blocked class, and it is a marketing and entrepreneurship class with an English research and communications class. So the class started in fall 2018. So this is our 5th year of having the double blocked class of marketing and entrepreneurship and English. And students earn 3 business credits as well as 3 ELA credits for the year. And they can take it as a junior or a senior. If they take it as a junior, it's awesome because then they have the opportunity to do a business internship their senior year. So we've really been trying to encourage kids to do that. And then, as well as their English credit, they also can enroll concurrently in Introduction to Communications through Anoka Ramsey Community College. So they're getting college credit, high school credit for English, and also their business electives for the year. So for the for the Business and Communications class, we have 3 major projects and throughout the year. And those projects would not happen without our industry partners. And the first is a Shark Tank competition. So during first trimester, the students learn about entrepreneurship, and then they create a startup idea, a business plan, and ultimately they pitch their business ideas during a Shark Tank competition. And I thought that we would share a video from last year of the Shark Tank competition, so you guys can hear from the students and the professionals what they enjoy about it.
You develop a holistic understanding of business in a different way. That's not something that you can get from a classroom. I think that's what's most valuable about it.
Shark Tank is
Okay.
our authentic performance assessment for first trimester and then into second trimester. Really? Okay, sorry, I guess we'll have to skip it, but I'm sure we can share
The
it with
entrepreneurial
you.
journey helps
Maybe you could share it with
you
them.
develop a holistic
Sure.
understanding of business in a different way.
Okay, so I'll share a little bit about the Shark Tank. So during the Shark Tank projects, as I said, students.
She's not giving up yet, she's like, no,
Okay.
we can do this.
Students pitch their ideas to professionals, and during that time, we have a couple of opportunities for our industry partners to come in. So the first would be coming in for some guest instruction. So they come in, and we have people who will talk about marketing, entrepreneurship, and analytics. And then we also have professionals who come in and talk about financials and meet one-on-one with the students and go over their business plans and their financials for their business plans. And that's just a really awesome opportunity for our students and for the industry partners. And it's one of my favorite days of the year is Shark Tank Day, because the kids are all dressed up, very excited. We have, I don't remember how many sharks we had last year. I think it was like 22 that we had. And so it's just a really exciting day for all the kids. They feel like this is a real thing, that their ideas could actually become businesses. So that's our first trimester. Then during second trimester, there's a business consulting project that the students partner with a local business. And that business will bring a problem to the students. And during 8 to 10 weeks, the students will do research. They will create surveys. They do focus groups and try to make recommendations to the businesses. So like last year, we worked with National Sports Center, and they wanted to work on a problem, or not necessarily, well, I guess a problem that they were having, which was to find out if the surrounding communities in the wider area know what all the NSC offers, besides just the soccer fields. So is the community aware of their other offerings? And so students, as I said, had to research the problem online. They conducted market research, shared their findings with the company in an initial kickoff meeting. Then they worked to create recommendations for the business, including social media packages, print packages, videos, website mock-ups, and other deliverables, including the survey results. And so it's a lot of work, and the kids are really learning not just the business aspect, but also how to work in a team like that on a project that lasts that long. And so it's been really, really valuable for them. And then the third project that we could not do without industry partners is our Human Resource Day. And that's the culminating project of the year. So at this point, the kids have done Shark Tank, they've done the business consulting project, and they create a resume that reflects that. And we do mock interviews and interview skills to prepare. And then on the HR day, we have 10 to 12 HR professionals come in, and there's Q&A with the students, and then they sit in small groups and do interviews with the professionals and answer the questions, and they get a lot of really good insights and feedback on their interview skills. And that's kind of our end of the year celebration. So overall, the impact of these opportunities and partnerships has been really big and amazing. Especially when I see the kids smiling, their excitement, their sense of accomplishment. They really feel like they're being treated like professionals. And I think that's the best thing we can do for them, is that they feel like what they've done and what they've learned is serious and real, and they can do this in the future. Or, you know, if they decide to follow a different career path, those same skills and abilities will follow them into that path as well. So, yeah, it's been a really awesome opportunity and a really fun class to be a part of. Thank you.
Questions or comments? I'll just say I've had the privilege of getting to see a few of these things in action, and it's so fun. The kids they're so professional, and they spend so much time preparing, and I tell you, I would buy into some of their ideas too. So it's really fun, and we will get that video sent around. Yeah.
I just want to add, I think this is actually absolutely amazing program for the kids to see the skills that they develop, and to see if the one I'll drop by early in the year to see where these kids are at the end of the year, self-direction skills that their self-advocacy skills that they're developing. And it's kind of fun just to see them get all dressed up in their business fits, as my daughter would call it. You know, they really, I just think they learn so much. So again, I think hearing about these two programs, it shows the That's why we're high schools, to give kids the variety of interests, and variety of
Absolutely.
experiences that they might have.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is kids can do both. They don't have to be limited to one or the other. And that's what's really great. So I would thank you so much. I think it was a great program.
Have those real world experiences in common. It's great. Thank you.
Well, you think too, they come out of that with so much confidence.
Right.
I can't imagine going, being
Right.
terrified maybe at the beginning a little bit
Yes.
and then to the end. I can do this.
I told the kids last year for Shark Tank Finals, I don't know if any of you were at Shark Tank Finals last year, but it was, the questioning that they received was so intense, like, by the judges, that I said, you never need to be nervous about anything
Yeah.
ever again. You can walk into any interview and be confident, because that was intense and wild,
Yeah.
and you did so well, like, maintaining your confidence and your poise under that kind of pressure. It
Yeah,
was-
the industry partners do not hold back.
They do
with
not hold back,
their
no.
questions. And I should add, that's one of the cool things, when the kids that are the team, doing their presentation, answering the questions, then when they walk and they sit down, and then when everybody's kind of looking away and they look at each other, they give each other a high five. And it's just cool to see.
That's awesome. Well, in the presentations where they work with where they get kind of a problem from local businesses, what the part I've been lucky to participate in is to help them practice, essentially. Like, they practice before they take it to them. And I really love, it's not just learning about the business piece, it's learning about that iterative process of running something by somebody, getting some critical feedback, working together to fix it. I mean, it's learning, no matter where they end up in life, these skills are just amazing to be able to work together and figure it out and then make it better. So yeah, it's great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
High school was never like this.
No.
So before I talk a little bit about how we go about assessing some new opportunities, I want to point out something too about Jen and Scott. Because it also wouldn't be possible for us to run programs like this without teachers like them. And I'm not just saying that, I want you to think about, so 5 years ago, you can imagine maybe how Jen felt when we talked about this initially and talked about, I was like, well, what about a class that meets Minnesota State standards for English language arts and embeds some college credit from Anoka Ramsey in communications, and you would partner with business for electives, and we would build in industry partners. And she was like, yeah, okay. I mean, just really willing to engage in that innovative process and design. And she had to do a lot of work to be able to teach it too. That's the other thing that I just don't want to be missed is Jen went through the credentialing process so that she could offer a concurrent enrollment course. She was willing to take that leap into, you can imagine, Shark Tank for her as well, those first years of getting kids ready for this. So I think these levels of pathways and innovation also our most innovative teachers are jumping on board with, which is great. Scott also, yes, super enthusiastic as a geography teacher, and with our Pathways program a couple years ago, part of our Pathways offerings is we partner through Achievement and Integration consortium classes, and we had something with Irondale School where they were having kids come over for some of our programming, and we wanted to test out, do we have students who are interested in something like construction and solar? But we had this, because they're in semesters and we're in trimesters, we had this little 6 week period where we had to think about what we would do. And because I knew about Scott's summer job and had seen his handiwork at my house on my deck, we approached him and said, hey, what do you think about doing something really different? Like, what do you think about doing this? And then he went and ran with it and has also been going through the process of getting his career and technical license. So there's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes along with those industry partners and designing something completely new. So I just don't want to lose how much work has been done by these two to make these opportunities happen for our kids. And the other thing that I think is really cool about where Jen has brought our business and entrepreneurship over the last few years is last year, we now have students who have come back to judge Shark Tank, who were in Shark Tank initially in some of that first year. So that's been really cool, and I'm still waiting for some of those prototypes, like the interchangeable cleat from the first year, to come to fruition somewhere. So it's been really fun to see the evolution, and that is part of how we want to close tonight, is talking about how do we continue to assess new opportunities for our career and college pathways programming. We're always looking, this is the process we're in right now. In November and December, we really dive into using our 3D design process. And so Eric Van Brocklin is engaging in this work right now. We try to gather student voice, of course. What are students looking for? What are they interested in? Scott's course is a perfect example of, we saw a lot of students wanting to do some of those courses, and so we said, you know what, we really need to think about offering something. But additionally, we also are always looking for ideas from our teachers. Do they have an idea for something they want to create? And then industry trends and that industry partnership. What is industry telling us is something we need to be aware of and have on our horizon as we're thinking about preparing our students for the future. So we do a discovery process around first looking at our current courses, which there's that long list of, and looking at, you know, how are they going? Is there anything we might want to refine? And every year we make some refinements. Generally, sometimes it's how to make almost anything has so many students and they're asking for more, so we add a how to make almost anything too. Sometimes it's finding something we put together as a double block is drawing two very different types of students, and it's not working for those kids as they've shared for us, so maybe we split it apart. So we always assess how that is going, and that helps us know, you know, do we want to refine something? Is there something that's not taking off for kids? And then what do we want to create? And that's always, of course, the really fun and exciting part. And then using that 3D design process, then we put it out there for kids. We let people know about it. We use Erica and her wonderful team to help us communicate it. And then from there, if the course runs, then we get to go into that design process. And then we're continually refining our delivery and learning from it each year. So that's where we'll be heading, and we'll be updating you as the year progresses on any changes we want to make to our Pathways programming. We generally sometimes leave things as they are, and sometimes we add a little bit. I just want to share too our contacts. Eric's been mentioned tonight. He really is such an amazing career pathways lead. He is a go-getter. He's always finding those partners for us, and we're so appreciative of him. So if you are interested in connecting in any of those ways that I previously mentioned, or even just want to know more about the career pathways programming, you can reach out to Eric Van Brocklin. He really is that CTE lead, connects with our industry partners. He provides some of that professional development and curriculum support. And then you can see also another person who's been really instrumental in a lot of the development of over the last years at the high school is Jennifer Bledo, who does our career and college counseling. So she works with Eric. They have the career fair. They also have a college fair coming up. Again, not trying to make kids choose one or the other, but really looking at how those work in partnership together. And then she also does a lot of the scholarship pieces and our post-secondary. So both of their information is up there, and they are willing and happy to talk to others. And then just as a final piece, again, we've said it throughout, but none of this would be possible. It would not be possible were it not for our community partners. We're very, very grateful to all of the partners that have helped us over the years, continue to help us and bring these experiences to students. So we feel very fortunate. Are there any other questions about anything from our updates?
Just a couple of things. First, Scott, I've got a kitchen and bathroom remodeling coming up, so give me a call, you know.
Sounds like he has a lot of free time.
No, all kidding aside. Great program. I am so fascinated and eager to see where it's going to go next. Just the partnerships I know that we're building within the community. Again, community involvement, I think, was what we talked about, and how that reflects in trust in the community. So I'm excited to see where this goes. My one question is, do we know how many students are coming from Irondale? We have that partnership. Do we have a lot of students coming over into our programs?
Yeah, so we generally have, in our opportunities in emergency care generally has, I don't know if they're Mounds View students, I'm not sure if they're Irondale or Mounds View, like which high school they go to, but we generally have students who join from that, and then we also have some partnerships, a partnership with Centennial. Scott has some students from Centennial, 4 in his class. So it's not a large number, but it's a handful of kids that is part of the consortium agreement that we have with the goal of, right, we don't have to all be the jack of all trades. We can offer opportunities back and forth and then really give, again, it's all about giving the kids the opportunities. So I think, I wouldn't be, I'm not sure on an exact number, maybe if I had to guess, I would say we're probably somewhere between maybe around 15 kids that come from other districts in for those, but 28, okay, just kidding, 28.
Okay.
Twice
The
that.
numbers people let us know.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, yeah, I thought, oh, turn around.
I'll just close with, you know, what's so exciting is we also get to hear lots of great things about the academic, maybe more traditional academic paths, and I just love that there's something for everybody, no matter what you're into as a student, what you want to study, what you want to get real life experience with, and that's what I love about our district, all those personalized experiences for kids, no matter what they want to do. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to effective operations, improve our effective management of human, financial, and physical resources. Monthly financial report, September 2022, Ms. Amy Schultz.
All right, good evening, board, and I love always following the super exciting program presentations. So with that though, how do we fund these super exciting programs that we have? We make sure we have strong financial situation in our district. So tonight we're going to start up again this school year with our monthly financial report. This is something we haven't done since the May report, which was done in September or August. So with that, we usually do not do one for the months of June, July, and August. June being our fiscal year end, there's a lot of moving parts, especially on the cash side as we move things between funds. So with that, we don't tend to do one until we've kind of closed last year, which we've mostly done at this point, and then start back up with the month of September. So that is what we are covering tonight. These reports, I know our school board is all familiar with these at this point. The first one is the treasurer's report, the cash basis receipts and disbursements for that month of September. This month is going to be a little bit lower than most. A lot of times on the receipt side, might be a little closer to average. On the disbursement side, lower than what we will typically see in a month. Some of that is we have employees that start working in September, so rather than having 2 checks in September, they only have 1 because there's a lag. So it's not really a full month of payroll. In addition to that, a lot of that back to school expenses that kick in aren't necessarily paid in September. So September is, yes, it's a busing month, but we don't pay the invoice until October. So a lot of those expenses tend to lag a month. So that is what you see here. And as you can see, the building construction fund has been gone, so we left that on there for this month. Those will come off again, but just as a reminder, we used up those funds before, so those are all gone and no longer a part of our cash. On the revenue side, this is the month-to-date for September receipts, the year-to-date receipts, our current budget, and how that compares as a percentage of our budget, and then how that compares to our previous 2 years. As you can see, the general fund is pretty close in line with that, along as is the community education fund. Our food service fund is a little bit ahead this time, and that's really, it doesn't take a lot in the food service fund. It's about a $56,000 supply chain grant that was received. So that's one of those, it's a supply chain assistance grant. We received it last year as well. So this is another one this year, and it's really helping with the food service fund, being able to update some of our equipment as dishwashers and now some of our convection ovens and stuff as well. We're able to replace those, so we'll start to see that.
Is that COVID related, the
Yes,
supply chain?
it is.
Okay.
It's separate than all of the other grants we've sort of talked about. It's one of those where they just sort of send out an email, you'll be receiving this grant, and the money shows up. So it was about $102,000 last year. So it's another $56,000 this year. Federal. And so I'm trying to think of the other ones. The other ones are kind of falling in line on the revenue side. On the expenditure side, and this one you can really see the general fund is really close to being in line with the last few years. It's a little bit ahead. You can see that on the capital expenditure line. That is the high school roofing project that was being done over the summer. That was very visible right out in front of the high school. So that line reflects that as far as why we are ahead of budget, the large dollar amount hitting in the first couple months of the school year. And then within that really the rest of these all sort of fall in line with what we would expect. Scholarships are a little behind actually from what we would normally see. So we're waiting to hear back from the high school, and is this just something where there's just a little bit of a delay in getting the checks to us, or did we actually see a decrease? So, and it might have been, we had a large year for scholarships last year. much larger than what we've seen in the past. So it might just be that we were doing a catch-up last year due to COVID, and we're falling back into a normal cycle. So that is what I have for the financial report. If there are any other questions?
I'll just say, with the first couple of months I ever sat on the board, Gary Brisbane sat on the board with me, and he used to give Amy kudos frequently. And I don't think you get them enough, so I'll say, I mean, managing a $100 million budget is an incredible job, and you guys do just such a good job of managing it well. Other districts, don't have the security necessarily that we do, always knowing that we can count on you, and you guys just do such a great job. So I just want to recognize you for that, especially going into December with all the reports you have coming up.
And always explaining it well.
And
Yes.
always dumbing it down to our level.
Yes.
Thank you.
Exactly.
It's a level I can also understand, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss the building fund line.
We can keep it there, but there's not going to be anything that shows up on
I think it's been there since I
Yeah,
Probably
long
has
time.
came on the board. It's been there a long time.
Yeah.
It looks good to have nothing there, so maybe just leave it.
Yeah, that's how I feel right now too, so.
All right, anybody else questions or comments? All right, thank you. All right, moving on to the superintendent's report.
All right, just a few things to highlight from the past month. There we go. First off, leadership across grades. You can see all of our ninth grade students attended the Respect Retreat with their Panther mentors. Looking at positive leadership recently, you can see some of the pictures, the kids. Also, it's just kind of a fun thing they're doing over at Woodcrest. Fourth graders are working with the kindergarten students, helping to get them to the correct bus at the end of the day, things like that. So I thought those pictures were kind of cute, what they're doing there. You had a chance tonight to hear about some of our pathways. We just had a recent highlight, Opportunities in Emergency Care. Also earlier in the evening, you heard from Erica talking about our communications. This is one that's, I think, featured in the latest Spring Lake Park experience. But you can see one of our students noticed a young family member who's choking on his food. She's sprang into action using what she'd learned in her first aid and CPR class, and recognized for saving that child's life. So it's bringing that learning right to practice. It's also on the right, you can see that we're fortunate to have a new truck that's been added to our fleet with our ambulances and so on. So it's our first fire truck that we've had over there, so it's fun to see that. And a big thank you to SBM Fire and Chief Chad Martin for making that happen. So it's exciting. Hands-on learning everywhere. Just kind of leave it up there for a moment so you can take a kind of gander at some of the things that are going on in the schools. Pictures are worth more than my words. Our football team was the #1 seed in the section. They beat Irondale in the semifinals, and then they were in the section finals on Friday night. Unfortunately, the highlight of my evening was probably getting to talk to Scott for a while because they didn't pull out the win, but they had a great season. And it's on the right, it's myself with a couple of our middle school administrators with our Panther. Probably the highlight for me, though, I guess actually at the game the other night, was throwing some T-shirts at the start of the second half to the student section. I think it's the loudest I've ever heard the student section. I walked up with a bunch of T-shirts, and they went nuts to get the T-shirts. And I saw one kid that was a bigger kid. He's strong, like probably 6'2", 6'3", and he was all excited when he got the shirt, and he goes, "I got a small!" So it was kind of fun. This was also a blast. Last Friday, we kicked off. Started working on this last spring. Myself and Matthew Boucher, the principal at the high school, are having a student advisory group that we're going to meet with throughout the year. One of our student board members is on that group. I had the chance to talk with her, but the group kicked off. We spent time just getting to know each one of them. It was fun to hear about what they hope to get out of high school while they're here, as well as it was amazing to hear the interest that they have beyond high school. But then we also had 4 different questions, and that's them holding up their responses to those 4 questions to just kind of give us insights into what's really going well for them and what might be some opportunities, things we can consider. For example, like one of the groups said, they think the pathways are great, but we should maybe provide some opportunities in middle school so the kids can start thinking about them. The good news is that's something that's in our district operational plan to look at, but so it was something that the students were seeing there. One of the biggest things, the kids really like the flexibility that they have, that they're developing, kind of self-direction skills, things like that they said. And then there was just a lot of talking about the quality of their teachers and staff, which was cool to see. Upcoming grade 5-6 musical and the Westwood Middle School play coming up in December. So encourage people to get out and watch our younger actors get on stage. And then Live on 65, we had our first one, was that last week before, Colleen, I think. But you can see there's some upcoming shows in January, April, and May for people to check out. But they're really bringing in some great acts for our community. It's a chance for our community to get into our high school, be part of that great venue, and see some great acts. So, and Panthers for a Purpose. It's kind of hard to believe that we're already talking about this. That's in February, the week of February 19th to 25th. But it's a week of giving and sponsored by our Panther Foundation. So it's just something to keep. There'll be more information coming on that and opportunities to get involved. That's it.
All right, great.
All right.
Anybody have any questions for Jeff? Okay, great. Moving on to our action items, we will start with the second reading to adopt proposed policy changes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Forsberg. Second. Second by Bo. To approve the adoption of the following policies with proposed changes, policy 417 and 418, those, we had some time to look at those, so any discussion on those? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to the resolution of governing board support for an application for to Minnesota State High School League Foundation. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion by Skelly,
Second.
second by Easter. To adopt the following resolution, whereas the Minnesota State High School League Foundation was formed to provide support for Minnesota's high school youth to participate in athletics and fine arts. Whereas the governing board of Spring Lake Park Schools recognizes the value of student participation in extracurricular activities. And whereas the Minnesota State High School League Foundation is offering grants and funding to assist schools in recognizing, promoting, and funding extracurricular participation by high school students in athletic and fine arts programs. Therefore, be it resolved that the governing board of Spring Lake Park Schools supports the school's application to the Minnesota State High School League Foundation for a Form A grant to offset student activity fees. Any discussion? You want to say a couple words on that?
Yeah, it's just a grant that Will Wackman submits. We have the district get about $5,000. It just goes to help with. We have about the lowest activity fees in the surrounding area for kids to be able to participate, and this just goes to help offset some of the costs that we have to be able to offer the activities that we have.
Awesome.
Is this an annual grant?
Yeah, he'll submit it annually.
Any other discussion?
It's basically free money.
Yeah. Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Croon,
Yes.
Mrs. Gilly,
Yes.
Mr. Valella, Ms. Poe,
Yes.
Mrs. Forsberg, yes, Mr. Easter,
Yes.
Mrs. Hannan.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted on a 7-0 vote.
Thank you. All right, moving on to approval of the agreement, school clerical employees' terms and conditions of employment for the years 2022 to 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Easter,
Second.
second by Skelly. To approve the agreement between Independent School District 16 and Office and Paraprofessional International Union Local Number 12, AFL-CIO, CLC, effective July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2024, as recommended by the board's negotiating committee and the administration. And this is the contract we heard about in our last closed session. All right, any discussion on that? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to approval of bid for ventilation update at Spring Lake Park High School. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Forsberg. Second. Second by Bo. To award bid for ventilation update at Spring Lake Park High School as presented at this meeting. Amy, do you have just a couple? I know we got some materials on this.
Yes, so this is a bid that we've actually been talking about for about a year and a half. It's been part of our federal ESSER plan as well. So this was bid. We tried to bid it really early, hoping that we would get good pricing. The construction industry is very expensive right now. A lot of companies are also hedging on making sure they can get the equipment and staffing lined up. So it did come in higher than what we had hoped, but we are recommending to accept the low bid, knowing that prices are not expected to go down anytime soon. This is for work on the HVAC system at the high school over the Fine Arts Center. So work would not be done until next summer, so we will start as soon as school gets out. Most of this plan, though, will be paid for as a part of our ESSER grant. We did apply for that a couple of years ago when we initially applied for the grant, and that was accepted by the Department of Education, so that will offset most of the cost of this as well by using those funds.
Great. Wonderful. Anybody questions?
Real quick, is the work over the Fine Arts Center, can you just remind me, is that to update the filtration system of
So
the
it's the
HVAC
heating,
system? or
ventilation, air
the-
system, so it's just air movement and quality.
Okay.
Currently, the systems that are up there we've had to keep repairing them.
Oh, okay.
So it's just part of kind of our regular deferred maintenance schedule. These
Okay.
units are the ones that right now need the most work, so.
Okay,
It's nice to have ESSER funds for it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Any other questions, Michael?
What's the percentage you say most would be funded by the grant?
We had $600,000 approved for a few years ago, so 75% or so. And it's just something, a way we had planned to use that as an indoor air quality piece to go with.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay, anybody else? Any other discussion, questions? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to acknowledgement of gifts. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Easter. Second. Second by Vogt. To approve the following resolution, whereas School Board Policy 706 establishes guidelines for the acceptance of gifts to the district, and whereas Minnesota Statute 465.03 states that a school board may accept a gift of real or personal property by the adoption of a resolution approved by 2/3 of its members, therefore be it resolved that the School Board of Spring Lake Park Schools accepts with appreciation the gifts as shown. They're on the screen. Wow, look at all those. I'll say any discussion. As always, we are incredibly grateful to our community. Anybody else have any other comments or questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you as always, absolutely. Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Easter,
Yes.
Mrs. Forsberg, yes. Mrs. Bowe,
Yes.
Mr. Valella, Mr. Scully,
Yes.
Mrs. Scully,
It's okay.
sorry.
It's all right.
Mr. Croon.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted on a 7-0 vote.
All right, moving on to board forum and reports. We'll start with our students. Welcome. Sorry, you guys have been sitting there so patiently.
Yeah.
What have you got for us today?
I can go first.
Okay.
Yes, take it.
So, first off, I'm going to start with what's going on in the arts. So, the fall play just finished up this weekend. We received very positive feedback from audiences. It's sad that it's over. The set is all gone, but we're looking forward to what's coming up in the future. Auditions for the one-act play and spring musical will take place before the next school board meeting at the beginning of December. Also in the arts department, choir and band are heading to Chicago this weekend from Thursday to Sunday. We will have a few performances, including one at the Field Museum, while also having time to visit many of Chicago's well-known spots. And Amelia and I are going on this trip, so we're excited about that.
Very fun.
And then the Panther Mentors have been busy with the Respect Retreat that took place last Tuesday and Wednesday. The freshmen received it very well, and we were able to have great discussions. Put on by Youth Frontiers, the Respect Retreat teaches students to create their definition of respect and how it can be implemented in their life and in our school. Looking forward in Panther Mentor events, Coco and Cram will be on November 29th. This event partners with NHS and the Panther Peer Tutors to provide help for freshmen preparing for end-of-try exams and assessments. Free hot chocolate and free tutors are supplied.
Wonderful. Thank you.
To follow that, our fall sports season has sadly come to an end. Along with that, a special shout out to Riley Kopp, a junior on our cross country team, who placed 99th, the best our team has done in about 7 years at the St. Olaf meet. And our swim team is going into their sections meets. On an even lighter note, our winter sports are beginning, starting with hockey and dance, having a good season starter this Saturday. And all the students, staff, and athletes are very excited.
Awesome. Transition time.
As far as like in the school and academics, we had just had College Knowledge Month, which was October, and there was probably 30-ish, I don't know the exact number, of college representatives that came, and students could sign up and go and listen. And then there's also the college fair, which will be on the 14th, with I think 40 to 50 colleges. There's a lot of them. Anyway, from On Sunday the 13th is World Kindness Day, and Student Council is putting on we're making letters of kindness, which people can write in lunch, and then it'll be delivered to students during their homeroom on the 14th. And then on December 9th, the Student Council is also holding the first blood drive of the year, where students of 16 or older can come and donate blood. And then also on December 10th, there's the Winter Market, which is formerly known as the Holiday House, where younger students can come and shop for small gifts for their family or friends. And then I think our club, we have about 50 clubs now. It's just been climbing. There's a debate club. And then my club is Green Club, and I wanted to attest to how great the two teachers we just talked to were. I've had both of them as teachers, and Ms. Prince is the advisor for Green Club, and Mr. Wickland actually gave us a planter box for a garden that we're going to start in the spring. And yeah, they're just so great, and I like them a lot. And that's it, yeah.
What do you do in Green Club?
Right now, our project is working on the garden, and then during our meetings, we've been going into the courtyard and then outside the school and picking up trash, because during lunch, students when it's been warm, they've been able to go and sit in the courtyard, but they leave quite a bit of trash. So we go and pick it up. And last
Mr.
year,
Wickland needs to make wooden signs for you guys.
Yeah.
Says no litter.
yeah. Last year, we also organized a Earth Day trash pickup, school-wide. So it was all of NHS, and we all walked around. We created a map, and some people went here and some people went here, and it was really fun.
That's
So, yeah.
awesome. Good for you guys.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I would add in that, when we had the advisory council last week, I think all 4 groups mentioned the number of activities and being able to have clubs, and, drawing a blank on his name, but the one boy said, he sounded like Will, because he said, you can, and if we don't have it, all you have to do is say you wanna start it, and you can start it. And so it was kind of cool to hear the kids obviously hearing that message, and we've seen it. I think it's 12 new clubs that have started this year.
It's so fun getting to hear what you guys are going on, but also, again, kind of still coming back from COVID, everybody I don't know, I know it's been a while, but all the clubs, everybody's still just so excited, I think, to be in school and be in activities, and it's wonderful to hear about all of it, so thank you. Anybody else? Questions or comments for the students? We won't put you on there. Thank you for sharing. Okay, how about, do we have any board forum reports? Anybody on this end? Michael?
Yeah, not directly related, but indirectly, Dr. Ronnerberg and I went to the Highway 65 event on October 18th, which was a really cool opportunity to show a united front on that problematic corridor, and the superintendents of all 3 school districts in Blaine were there, along with board representation. So the schools really stepped up here to show federal delegation staff the importance of that corridor, and the media was there too, so that was good. And then on October 27th, I attended the Blaine Business Council meeting along with Dr. Ronnerberg again, and he was given an opportunity to speak, so that was really cool because we got to highlight some of the things that we were talking about tonight. So our career and college pathways, and particularly our construction trade program, which is generating a lot of interest, and that's a great forum to make some of those connections as well. So
Definitely. Great, thank you. Anybody else down here? Anybody over here?
Just a little bit. More opportunities and things I can go to. But I did go to the Lions Pancake Breakfast.
Oh,
and
nice.
Mr. Easter, just to answer your question about students and where they come from, I specifically asked the 2 students who were at the OEC table that day, and one was from Irondale and one from Spring Lake Park.
Oh,
So,
great.
yes, I thought so too. 916 is doing this board self-evaluation, and find a tool to do that is very interesting, because what MSBA puts out was really not applicable to an intermediate, and So I think they finally settled on St. Anthony, who had developed their own, but I did at that. Well, I don't know if that really answered, if it asked the right questions to get the right result. So if we ever consider that, that's it. It's quite a project. 916's safety committee is meeting, and different than you would think. It addresses the students' behavior, safety issues arising out of student behavior, and emotional well-being of staff. And some work has been done with the lobbyist about legislative priorities, but I think a lot of that will be decided tomorrow. And I am going to standard response protocol, train the trainer workshop, which I've mentioned before, and I know a number of staff is going, I know Colleen is. And so that's the project of trying to get law enforcement staff, anybody who might be involved in the schools in an emergency situation, all to have the same language. So it'd be interesting to see what that's about.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, anybody else?
Are you gonna mention the Lions Club?
Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Somebody
Yeah,
should.
so, right. So on October 26th, Michael and I were at the Lions Club Panther Scholarship meeting, and it was just general, just a general meeting. Unfortunately, the rep wasn't there to share what was currently in the funds, but we did interestingly find out that usually in the past there's several scholarships that have not been claimed. This past year, only one scholarship had not been claimed.
Oh,
so
wow.
they're working on. So that's
great.
That's huge. Usually there's roughly 6 to 9 that are not claimed. So yeah, this past year it was just one.
Great.
So
And they still have until December, I think,
yeah.
before it goes back into our fund. So there's a chance it could be 0 because they're still continuing to make efforts on that one.
There's a little bit of a process,
Yeah.
so.
Is it not claimed because the student changes their plans, or because nobody won the scholarship?
No.
they were awarded the scholarship. Yeah, it's just that they haven't, I think one of the requirements is just to submit a thank you letter, and then they'll get the scholarship.
But you also have to go back to the high school with a show proof you're enrolled, and I mean, there's a
Yeah,
few steps, not that they're onerous at all, but that just have to do that.
Mhm.
So, Yep,
There are multiple efforts to reach out
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
students.
yeah, that's great.
And so,
Good, that's great news.
And the school is they're still working on trying to contact them, so fingers crossed, it
Yeah.
could be 0.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. Anybody else? Okay, let's move on to adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Motion by Easter,
Second.
is that round? Second by Forsberg. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed?